Play. Okay, so back to this whole ordeal. Now, I do remember earlier, the video that sort of kind of went up because it wasn't necessarily, oh, there we go. Well, I mean, okay, it was uploaded, but YouTube's lying to me apparently. Okay, so this is to address a lot more in my team building video. So, this is to address, again, more in my main video that just went up. And, yeah. So, there was a lot of interesting stuff that was sort of kind of going down. So, whoops, let me at least show you guys what's happening. So, there's a bit of funny information that went down earlier. Not in the guild side of things, not anywhere else, but just in the fact about how crazy Gumi's gotten recently. Gumi, Gumi. There's been a lot of stuff messing up recently. That game will automatically error out sometimes. It'll glitch out. Like, I was just making a sphere and it glitched out and it said, like, error downloading, re-download the game, and it kicked me out. And I'm like, what the fuck? So, shit's been crazy. But anyway, besides all that, um, yeah, I don't know if my video really covered a lot of stuff, but let me, geez, what else is there really to? That's the thing, is that I don't know what else there really is to say because Ushi made a video. Yeah, now I'm stealing more Ushi content. Oh boy. Ushi made a video about a few years ago about team building. And again, that was very, very, very long time ago. So that's the other thing, is he made his video back in 2014, 2015, I believe. And you know, maybe not that long ago, but maybe it was way longer, or maybe about a month, or no, not a month, about a year or two ago. He uploaded a video on how to make a really good team. One thing is, though, is at that time we didn't have any of the information that we have nowadays, nor did we have any of the actual good units we do have currently. So I kind of sort of want to go over a lot more, but I have no idea. But also, I had I had a moderate epiphany earlier, and that is again more to do with everything that's been going on the channel. Maybe I need to take a quick step back and let the community guide itself and start working on other things like the merch. Because I actually have I don't think I made the because I came up here after getting my food. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Because I had an idea, then I forgot it. Then I'm like, oh wait a minute, I remember now. Oh jeez, it was the Real Men Pick Oracle, Real Men Have Oracle T-shirt. So expect that stuff to be happening way later. Now again, weird information. We got Xenon reopen. Now, here's the thing. I don't think we got the reopen because like they're saying like, oh, due to popular demand, Xenon's back. I don't think that's the reason. Okay. Look. The rates were shit. Okay, like I'm not gonna lie, the rates were shit, and I pretty much we all knew the rates were shit as soon as everybody on the Discord server, we all knew the rates were complete shit as soon as ShadowPixel had to do 60 plus summons for one unit. Now I'm sorry, I'm not on like any Ushi level bullshit here, but that's kind of fucked. Okay, that's kind of fucked. And oh, the dear sweet irony. They added extra rate ups. Now they added, boosted rates, obviously. Not really boosted rates. And keeping in mind that there's hundreds of units in not only the featured, but in global exclusive down to Koyuk, there's a bunch of units, okay? There are a couple hundred units in that set. So it is kind of stupid for Gumi to go, oh hey, we now have all this crap. So that is pretty bad. So anywho, back into team building. Now I mentioned in the video that I would try to get Lucius and Filian's SP maxed. I don't have their SPs maxed. I don't even think I have Ark's SP maxed. But the one thing I can mention is also if you're trying to make a team in the current meta, you want to make sure you always have full SP. You want to get your units with a full SP as possible. And then you want to go through and just kind of check what you can do with those units. Now, Lucius can pretty much be made into a really good unit. Basically, you just need a bunch of, you need to rework some of the stuff that Lucius has. Now, again, that is kind of a problem, considering that Lucius isn't necessarily the best in the world, but Lucius does have some good effects. Spark damage reduction, BB attack boost, stats damage removal, HP restoration, enhancing HP max HP stuff. He's pretty good. And again, I don't have my Arc maxed. And having Cartas here. All of these. Ugh. And this is the team I had in the video. Now, okay. And for here, I'm going to try to build up other stuff. Build up multiple teams so that I can show you guys what Pixel Star wanted me to do last night in making a unit with Karna, Azurai, and Arc. So I'll actually put Karna. Now, I'm going to use Karna lead because, again, Karna is, you know, OP as fuck. So there's that. Boom. Then you pretty much slap Azure and Arc anywhere here. Boom, boom, done. You know. Now, reason you want to have your Karna's lead is because Karna has a very high parameter boosting leader skill, and he's really, really, really good for damage. Now, one thing is, though, is if I am going to use Arc, I'm going to need more damage. And, you know, Karna only does so much. You know, because currently we see he has elemental damage and spark damage. Well, currently we have 2 elements, and, you know, that's, you know, fire and light. So I'll build this team kind of strange, but it'll make sense later. So again, building with all these things. I want to have him with the BB attack boost because, you know, my Azure with that, because he is, again, very, very high damage dealing unit. They buffed him up really, really good. You know. Next up, and in this spot right here, in any of the spots really, you want to put a kind of fire buffer. Now, a fire buffer based on, oopsies. Oh yeah, you see all my guild stuff there. Not much of a spoiler, but you know, crazy stuff, crazy stuff. But what he posted yesterday, I'm not going to use Vargas because Vargas is terrible. And in case if anybody really wants to know, Vargas placed number 1 on my worst units list. So, if that says anything, there's that. Now, I don't want to put Aphrodilith on there because Aphrodilith and Azure kind of have conflicting abilities. Now, Adriesta, I don't know if I really want to put Adriesta on the team. I don't think she does much. Attack, defense reduction, spark damage boost, BB gauge. Okay, so she can be good for that effect. So I'll put Adriesta on there because she has spark damage boost, BB gauge. Let me check to make sure that no other units have that. Something I haven't done before. No. I will now check my arc. Make sure he doesn't have this. Nope, he does not have it. And now, lastly, does Karna? I don't think Karna has this. I think Karna is more damage dealing and high power. Okay, boost max HP, attack defense recovery, enormous boost critical hit rate, spark damage, elemental damage, critical damage, enormously boost BB attack. Okay, maybe that's a conflicting buff with Azure. Spark damage, huge boost all elemental damage. Huh. So, okay. So for this instance, if you don't want to have conflicting buffs, you would not pick the options that I have. Well, you would pretty much pick every option that I have, minus this one, and you would probably stick, you know, maybe something else. Maybe you would, you know, free up other SP options and maybe give him resistance against one-hit KOs, or you might try to get as much really as possible. So pretty much if you don't have conflicting buffs, there's that. Adriesta for spark damage boost BB gauge, and I hate to say it, but I actually need to recheck my Il Malakat. I don't think he's any good still. Yeah, he's not really that good. I'm also trying to use units that, you know, Pixel Star has in order to help, you know, in order to save him pretty much from most of that stuff. Now, you don't want to bring someone like Maxwell. You don't want to bring Maxwell because Maxwell just does more elemental damage. Elemental damage, while it is very powerful, it's just we already have Karna on the team, so Karna will be very good at that. Now we want to have a elemental buffer, unless your arc already has element buff, the 6 DSP cost, then you don't need to worry about this next step and finding a random elemental buffer. So if you have all of that, you pretty much can complete anything else. Pretty much if you didn't have an elemental buffer besides arc, you'd pick Molif, and you would pick each and every option for an element to his attack. Now, next up, I have no clue who else to pick. Well, we've got a couple options for other nuker units, because Karna and Azurai are mainly nuker units. Now this is Lilith. She has attack, defense, recovery boosting effects, but I do believe, last time we checked, I do think Arc or Adriesta has those exact same skills, so that would not be good to add. You know, she does not have it, so it must be Arc. Or I might be wrong. Okay, so he just has boost attack. I think, you know, I keep fucking up the units. I think Karna has the attack, defense, recovery boost. Yeah, so you don't want to bring Lilith because, again, overlapping buffs. But if you want to bring Lilith for a nuker, that's really good. You know, she's a good nuker unit. Next up, if you want to have survivability, I would recommend throwing in a mitigator. So if you want to have like a mitigator who's semi-powerful, I'd still kind of recommend Amos. But in his instance, since he does not have Amos, I'd recommend Valen. Now, Valen is pretty interesting. I don't have anything set up for Valen, but Valen's pretty interesting because I do believe that you can give him... Let me do something here. Okay, so he does have other good effects. He has stuff. He has instant fill on BB gauge. He has BB on guard. He's really good. He has gradual recovery. So yeah, again, I'd recommend also slapping Valen on that team. Where's my Valen? There is Valen. And kind of a really wonky, messed up team, but there's no other team I can really build with these 3 units in it without having some kind of other effect in here, like some other kind of catch. So there's that. Now, again, it's kind of difficult building teams in the current meta because now it's like mono elemental squads and so much. Look, I have here. I'm working on my Amos. She's the mitigator. Natsu, Owen, and Azurai. They're all damage dealing units. Yin and Yuan is my utility unit with shields. And again, she's a mitigator with heals and stuff. Next up. Shield unit. I don't really need Tridon, but I just have him there because why the hell not? Gasoline is mitigator and heal. Sai as revive. And Angel Idol, I believe. And Ravia for damage dealing. Next up, we have Honoka and Hisa. Desit. Draenel. Fan Fang. And Senbon Sakura Miku. Reason I pick her as lead is because she has a greater boost to attack and a greater boost to all Earth units critical hit rate and their max HP. Critical hit being 30 plus and max HP being 100 plus, which is again really good stuff. Again, spark damage boosts critical hit, spark damage boosts BB gauge, enormously boosts Earth elemental damage, and reduces BB gauge required for BB. Very good stuff. And again here, very basic kind of simple Thunder team. Got the chick from the first part of the Brave Blossom Festival, Non Wang Mu. Zalion for taunt, and I think mitigating. Crash Bill for double action. Sylvie for more utility. And then this spot's going to be taken up by either Ceres, Marla, which I have currently, or the new Thunder Vortex unit, which is coming out later. And a light team, Taunter and Mitigator. Now these two kind of have conflicting buffs, you know, because Almanon reduces elemental damage and has all elements to attack. He kind of has the same thing with reduces all elemental attack, but he also negates crit damage, negates elemental damage, and DOT damage mitigation. Now, this is the one Allen I have. I got rid of the other one. He also has, where is that? He has, again, slight damage reduction from all types, critical vulnerability. He has Angel Idol and UBB. And you can give him more stuff. You can give him these things, you know, attack, defense, recovery for elemental types for 60. But if I did get another, I'd probably pick those options instead. So next up again, we just have Ezra for damage and Twinkle Miku for, not Twinkle Miku, Priestess Miku, sorry, for light damage dealing, and also having a really good attack, or having a really good leader skill, raising attack parameters. And then we have the crazy dark team. Again, Kerez is mitigator, and then everybody else is pretty much just damage dealing, because that's what that team is all about. So those are those three teams, and I don't really know, because it's kind of more difficult for me to explain how necessarily you can deal more damage when it's kind of left up. It's kind of left up in the air, really, because, you know, usually you're the ones who kind of go out there and tweak up those teams, or tweak your teams to a better degree. So let me look up like, you know, Touch Hub or something like that. Oh, GitHub. There we go. You append this to this thing. Let me post this down in the description of this live stream as well. It'll be the first thing you see. There we go. Team Builder. Now again, that is the global version, because again, I don't want to send you to the one where there's, you know, European units, because you wouldn't know probably what half of them are. And finally, good news, I made Mechanichel. Yeah, like that's pretty much it. I made Mechanichel. Whoopee. So next up, making more spheres. Still don't know anything about the Event Bazaar. Even though they had mentioned. Oh yeah, I don't have any Sky Fangs. Whoops. So who knows? We could see better stuff happen if they gave us the damn Event Bazaar. But what would you expect if they actually made it so that there's only 6 available at a time? In my eyes, that would completely suck because I've been checking between both of these, Omni Arcanum and Blossom, to make sure in case they didn't, fuck anything up. But no. Like, this is it. Now, one thing I do believe is we will actually be seeing this gate close. So this one's going to close in 2 days. That one's closing in 4 days. So maybe we'll wind up seeing the Brave Frontier in Europe collab pop in somewhere, sometime. Because they even mentioned that they have the Event Bazaar, but it's not here yet. Now, I really need to go back and read this because just make sure I'm not going crazy. Just make sure we're all not going crazy here. Login campaign. Well, let me get rid of that whole May thing. There we go. Collaboration dungeons. Find great deals at the Event Bazaar. Yeah, like, why? Maybe with that, when those gates close, we'll see Morgana pop up soon. I don't know. I just really want to see their frickin' take on Morgana. Because, yeah, it's like, they gave us the whole ordeal on, like, oh, hey, we're getting an Event Bazaar, and nothing's been updated. So, I don't necessarily know if there's gonna be, anything useful. No, wait, I think I can check these better here. Okay, here we go. Here we go. So, these are pretty interesting types of spheres. Now, obviously, we don't we don't have, super OP spheres. We don't have super OP spheres from the Sphere House. We have kind of basic spheres. So, an attack boosting sphere has more stuff along the lines of just boosting a form of attack. Special spheres have more of a focus on adding extra skills, adding extra buffs, and all that other hoo and ha. Defense piercing, those have obviously the defense ignore effect, and they boost attack, and they do all that other stuff. Spark and critical pretty much function the same way. They boost either spark for spark or critical hit rate or critical damage for criticals, and then they both mostly do the attack boost. Your basic 35 or 15% boost to attack. Next up, I kind of fucked this up in the video. Apparently there's this one's called Element Fusion, and this one's called Damage Reducing. So this one has to deal with more with, resisting an amount of damage. Like probable 20% chance of reducing damage, or 25% chance of reducing damage when blank, or during blank. So there's that. And then Element Fusion kind of is more like, status ailments kind of, it's not really Element Fusion. So there's that. Target setting, those are, your stealth spheres. Those are spheres that redirect, or spheres that are kind of like a taunt, but they don't really work. But again, in the target setting, it's more like stealth and redirecting rather than like a full-on taunt. And damage reflecting is, as it says, it reflects a certain percentage of damage. HP recovery does exactly as it says. BB gauge fills or controls or maintains your BB gauge or OD gauge, depending. And same with the drop spheres. It can do OD gauge, it can do BB gauge, it can do BCHC drop rate, BCHC efficiency, and basically the efficiency of BC and HC pretty much means 1 BC now would equal like 2, or 1 BC now equals like 3 or something. Hey Pixel Star. Okay, so one thing I'd actually recommend is if you're this far in the stream, I'd recommend going back to the beginning and watching the whole thing just to kind of get what I'm talking about. Because right now I'm kind of delving into the second half, which is spheres. So again, and then ailment inducing spheres, they inflict status ailments counter. That's what those do. So I'll come back to this. I'll come back to this whole chart later when I'm done briefly. Yeah, that's the best thing to do because I'm gonna kind of go off on some tangents here and there because this is a very difficult very difficult science in Brave Frontier because most of our units now kind of are the same. And I'm not saying like they're the same as in like they're, you know, clones of another unit, but it's just like, you know, with the exception of most of the other stuff. Oh, I found that. So, you know, we have some clone units, you know, the Ptolemy, Crash Belt, any unit that has, you know, activates BB, SBB, or UBB twice in one turn. Those units are all clones of Arthur. Can you show me the best unit you have for each type? Oh, Lord. Okay. I'm not going to give you the one best unit. I'll give you my 3 best units for each elemental type. So, chopping it off with, I'm actually going to, you know, chop us off with each element only going, you know, I'll go 7 stars in Omni. Because some units I have that are 7 stars that aren't Omni yet. So the best unit for fire types that I think is now currently number 1 is Blaze. No, scratch that. Well, okay, number 1 is Blaze, and we're going from bottom to top, so kind of weird. So, well, I guess I could say number 3 then. So number 3 is Blaze. Number 2 is Natsu, and number 3 is Yin and Yuan. Why are those set up like that? Because Blaze has high damage. Natsu can contrast with that high damage with giving himself boost BB gauge to max on his BB, allowing him to go from BB straight to SBB, boosting his damage a little bit more, making him slightly more powerful. Also, a great leader skill. Yin and Yuan, they have shield. They're great for utility. They're great for the fire vortex when it came out. But there's that. An honorable mention would be Azurai, and another honorable mention would be Ptolemy. Those two aren't really just, they don't honestly compare in terms of damage like to Blaze or to Natsu. And another good unit, well, another good unit that's not an honorable mention is Amos, because she does do heal, she does do mitigate damage. She does attack and recovery relative to attack. She has those good things. Now, again, you want to have a higher attack in order for those. Well, not really a higher attack, but you want to make sure that you have some attack boosting buffs so that you can contrast that. And then she has removes status ailments. And again, she just has restores HP. She's really good. And again, OD fill rate on her UBB. Really good unit. Whoopsies. Next up in the water section. Number 1, I can already tell you right now, is Ravia, because she has the best effect in the game. She has double action. Double action is one of those things that really helps out in a lot of situations. And next up is Vale and Vidron for number 2. They're really good. Mitigator. You can make him a mitigator. Again, really fucking cool with his shields, and he mitigates, which makes that, you know, even better. And number 3 is kind of difficult because it's kind of a tie between Savia and Gasolina. Now, they do 2 completely different things. Gasolina is a mitigator, Savia does normal hit count and normal hit damage boosting stuff. Why do I kind of put these in the same spot at number 3? Well, because I honestly couldn't really think of a time where I didn't have Gasolina on the team. And then I had Savia. Where should I farm units with less energy to raise their BB or SBB for each type? So there's only 3 types of BB in the game. Come on, level 47. Oh, cool. So let me explain where to do all that stuff, but you can actually go to the place I posted in the last stream. You go to Quest, you click the top section with Grand Gaia, you click the very top section with Mistral, you wind up in St. Lamia, you scroll right to Morgan. Kagan Desert is attacking BBs. So those are units that have, again, a certain hit count on their SBB or on their BB. Like, for example, I don't know who would be a good example of some unit that doesn't have an attacking BB. Oh, Rosalia. Does the type count? Type, okay, so the types, oh lord. Okay, I'll get into the types in just 1 second. I'll go over the BB types. I'll go over the 3 BB types very quickly right here. Attacking are pretty much any units that have X combo of X element to blank number of foes. You know, all foes random and target or single target. Recovery BBs are those who heal and heal only. So if they just do like a heal, passive heal, and a few other things, that is a recovery BB. And then a buffing BB is somebody who has a bunch of buffs. Like they do spark damage boost. You know, I don't know who else to think of, but Illuminate. He kind of has like, you know, he's kind of split in attacking BB and then buff. Like he kind of has all 3 in kind of like one nice neat little row. He has a recovery BB, a attacking SBB, and then a buffing UBB. The buff UBB pretty much adds a bunch of extra stuff on them. And that's pretty much all that. And pretty much if you want to farm specific characters, it's that same spot I mentioned in the last video. It's the same stuff I mentioned in the last live stream. Grand Gaia, Mistral, Morgan, Kagan Desert, Bandit of the Desert. Best place to farm units if you're trying to build up your attacking units. And the reason I had to mention those 3 different types of units is because some units provide the attacking BB, while others don't. Like a Mandragora, for example, would not necessarily provide an attacking BB, BB probability of raising. So that's just that. Like if you go to Kagan Desert in Morgan, do Band in the Desert. I'll show that in just a second, but let me get through all my favorite units currently, or the best units that I think are here. Number 3, for Earth units is very hard, but for number 3, I'd have to say Bjorn. But again, he is limited. Yeah, I'll show that in just a second. Let me get through the remainder of the elements. So number 3, well, okay, for this one's kind of weird. So number 3 is Bjorn because he has a lot of buffs, and he is the current highest EXP boost in the game. He has 25% EXP boost, which is amazing. Logriser only has 20. Third, number 2 is kind of split again between 2 other units with Dizzy and Baiken. Dizzy is very good for elemental damage, and Baiken's just really good for damage dealing. And number 1, while not released currently, is the Omni version of Elena. This unit is not out yet. It's just we're going to be getting her soon, but Omni Elena is probably the best because she almost is Ozamasta with a few added buffs for Thunder. Number 3, Zalion. Number 3, Crash Belt. Number 2, Zalion. Number 1, Nan Wang Mu. Nan Wang Mu is very good because she is a very, very Thunder focused unit, but she doesn't really add that much, but she is still very good for damage dealing. And that's all I can pretty much say about her. Now again, some other runner-ups would be, I hate to say it, but you know, Urza Scarlet, Lung, and Ceres. Those are kind of runner-ups. but I think Zalion does the job slightly better. Next up for light units, you already know who I'm going to say, my boy Arthur, Alanon, and kind of split again between Karna and Ezra because they're just really good attacking units. I say Arthur because he just got buffed today and he's very fucking powerful. Alanon because he's really good for all of the buffs he has. Again, next up, I'd have to say Selphon is a runner-up. If, you know, I mean, not if, but since, you know, we have all this other cool stuff happening, I do say that Selphon really does kind of make his place pretty well in here. What's so good about Arthur? He's the very first recaster unit in the game. He was the very first recaster unit in the game. Ravia only had double action. We needed somebody who had double cast. Another reason is they gave him a bunch of buffs to these little parameters that are inside of his extra skill. And also they upped his OD fill rate boost to his BB and SBB. Instead of that 30 that they had before, it's now a 50, which doesn't seem great, but it actually is really, really good. Next up again, they enhanced his double action proc. Instead of it being 10, it's now 15 on his SBB. And instead of it being 85 on his UBB, it's now 100%. So technically, you could, in theory, use him for IUBB, but he doesn't. Meh. He doesn't compare because he doesn't have overdrive boost on UBB SP option. Europe version had him a long time. Yeah, the European version had him a very long time ago. They just made an update to Arthur about a couple months ago, and I was one of the first to grab that special buff with a special skin for adding that awesome cool buff. Finally, dark units. Oh geez, dark units. I love my dark units. Okay, so instead of I hate to treat all the other kinds of units unfairly, but instead of the 3, I'm gonna say my top 5 favorite units. Number 5 is Merlin, because we all underestimated Merlin. Now, when I posted that damage test video, we all underestimated Merlin, and when I threw him into the damage tester, he was really good. Number 4, Lancelot. His update made him. It kind of made it gave him a new breath of fresh air. Instead of the low stats he had before, now he has 80% boost to max HP, 160 boost to spark damage. He now has 40% boost to defense max HP. And status elements removal when Arndite's equipped, and 200% boost to spark damage instead of the typical 100. They boosted some of the other little parameters in here. They boosted some of his stuff. It's kind of small numbers, but it has a big difference. Number 3, Omni Nyame, because she's a very good damage dealer. Number 2, number 2, Alzamasta, because he's the universal lead. Yeah, again, post all the sphere images. Post that on the Discord. Post it on the Brave Frontier section of the Discord. Now, again, if you're doing this via a phone, you're gonna see the application when you open up the app. Obviously, you'll see at the top left there's these 3 little bars. You click on that, and you can pretty much scroll through all the boards I have. And if you scroll down to the second board, you'll see Brave Frontier is the very first one, and post them on there, and I'll see them. And finally, for number 1, my favorite dark unit is Randolph and Ravenna. They kind of deserved an Ami for a very long time. They did not disappoint. Now, I know people are gonna be pissy about me not putting Xenon on the list, but considering the outrage we had over Xenon, another unit that had the capability of, doing infinite UBB, people were going crazy over him. But Gaultier, Beatrix, and Xenon pretty much run on my other side list of really, really good dark units. Now, again, I love dark units. Their designs are mostly cool. We have Dirk Rizzo, who's pretty much like a giant skeleton dude. So we have a bunch of cool designs. Again, all Zamasta's really cool looking. Both Lancelot and Merlin are really cool too. Gaultier is awesome. So let me see, what else are they talking about? Type. A unit's type. So first off, I'll actually go over the region that I use to farm attacking BB fodder, because I really only have attacking units. Any other unit I have that doesn't have an attacking BB gets the frogs. So again, you want to click on that main section there, that huge orange gate, and you want to click quest. Then you want to go up here to Mistral. Then you go from St. Lamia, you scroll, you click these little arrows or scroll with your finger if you're not on a computer, and Kagan Desert. And it's this mission right here, Bandit of the Desert. Bandit of the Desert's a really, really good one. Bandit of the Desert, again, is the best to run, not only because it has 7 fights, but because I do believe the boss units are capable, but it's very rare to see that happen. And it's only 5 energy, and it pretty much beats anything else out, because you do get, you get more units, you get attacking BB units most importantly, and you can get upwards of 6 per run, which is really good. 6 is on a good run, maybe 3 or 4 on a bad run, but I don't complain too much. And a unit's type. So a unit's type depends on a certain number system. Basically, there's Lord, Anima, Guardian, Breaker, and Oracle. Lord, Guardian, Anima, Breaker, and Oracle. Basically, each one has its upsides and its downsides. So with an Anima, you get more health at the cost of recovery, I believe. And with a Breaker, you get more attack at the cost of defense. So let me read this off. Actually, scratch everything I just said. Let me read it straight off to the list. I posted it. Okay, I'll go through the spheres. Now, let me go off with Lord. Lord is the basic nothing happens type. Lord means no stats grow. So your HP does not grow, your attack does not grow, your defense does not grow, and your recovery does not grow. These are the stats you are seeing currently. These orange stats are imps. Those are the little red dudes, the little blue dudes, the little green dudes, and the little yellow dudes. Those are all the imps. And the little little white dude is the little white dude with the little crown thingy dude. That is a imp that boosts all of these: the attack, the defense, recovery, and the HP. But I'll get into imps in just a moment. Now, imps are kind of important, but I'll explain those in a moment. Now, Anima has a larger HP gain while sacrificing recovery. Now, basically that would mean you get more HP. So basically, it's a couple percentage points, a couple bits higher in the HP department. And then Breaker, you get more attack at cost of defense. So if you want to have a really powerful unit, you want to get Breaker. And if you're willing to make them become a glass cannon, basically you want to risk their defenses in order for them to get more attack. Choose Breaker. Personally, my favorite type is Breaker, because I like seeing units that can do high amounts of damage. Next up is Guardian. Guardian has a larger gain in defense at a cost of recovery. So basically, that's for units that are, again, mitigators, because you want to have them be slightly more bulky, slightly more defensive. So there's that. And then Oracle was actually changed just recently. You gain more recovery at the cost of defense. Now, recovery is better for healer units. So those would be like Alimo, Illuminate, sort of, kind of. And yeah. Those are the few unit types. Now let me go over these spheres here. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Uh-huh. Zentaur is good. Bladed Seal is good. Currently, your Buffer Jewel, Malice Jewel, and Legwan Gem are really good. Perseverance Jewel is great. Perseverance Jewel is great if you don't have like Barrag's armor, I believe. Steeple Rose is good. Thief Bracer is good. You pretty much have good spheres. You know, I mean, I'm saying you have like really good spheres because most of these can actually be crafted into bigger and better spheres. The one sphere, though, that I do not like is Ultima Weapon. You can keep Ultima Weapon because it is a limited edition sphere. I mean, again, like looking at all the spheres, it's just you have a bunch of great spheres. The only sphere I do not like is Ultima Weapon. The only sphere I don't like is just Ultima Weapon. I'm saying keep it, but don't use it. Keep it, but don't use it, okay? Now, people are going to kind of get mad at me later in post-stream, but here's the problem with Ultima Weapon. Ultima Weapon isn't a bad idea. In fact, technically it could have worked like Hadarin. But one thing is, you lose attack based on your HP. You gain or lose attack based on your HP. Doesn't sound so bad. Well, considering that is a very low percent of attack boost to a very fractional bit of your health, getting somebody like Mifune, who has a very innately low defense, if you want to give him that, and if you want to try to get his HP lower, it's not going to work. Because most of the time, this dude dies in one hit. Mifune usually gets steamrolled very quickly because he doesn't have Angel Idol buff. He can't live a one-hit KO. Most of the time, he's very weak. Okay, so I briefly went over spheres, briefly went over unit type, went over what buffs to look for in making a squad. So, you know, those are BB enhancing, you know, BB boosting spheres, BB boosting effects, mitigation effects, so 50% damage reduction, healing, and then I went over some of the basic attack buffs, you know, spark damage boost, critical hit damage boost, and critical hit rate boost, BB attack boost, normal attacks. I kind of went over some of the stuff, but I don't think, now thinking about it, I don't think I really talked about, I don't think I fully talked about normal hits. And a normal hit, oh yes, I went over a few leader skills. I went over some of the essential leader skills to get. Let me talk about normal hits very, very briefly with one of the best units for normal hits. And it's Sylphan. So I'll briefly go over leader skills in just 1 minute here, but basically a normal hit is... Okay, so let me explain something. Sylphan has a very... People talk about Sylphan so much. Should I farm up gems to summon for Xenon? I really like him. If you really like him, go for it, because he's actually a very, very good unit. I'm not going to lie there. Xenon is very good. Okay, the reason I just don't have him on any teams is because I wanted to use units that are friendly to your account. I want to use units that you have. But if you get on the Xenon, that opens up a lot of possibilities. So, if you want Xenon, go on the grind for gems. Go ahead. Like, no joke though, if you really want to go on the whole hunt for Xenon, go ahead. How do you make your spheres better? Well, okay. Okay, yeah, so again, briefly on normal hits, Sailfon has attack boosting stuff, and pretty much when you click the unit, when you don't use BB or SBB, basically when you don't flick up or to the side or to this side, and you just like tap on them, that's a normal hit. There we go, went over that. Good, covering all my ground. So how do you make spheres better? Well, most of the time you get other equipment. So for example, let's say I want to make a skilled bracer. I don't know, some item that I don't have. Okay. You know what? Let me find a good analogy for these spheres. So whenever this is the one thing I don't like is that the spheres take so long to load. Any day now, please. Game, please. Gimu, help me. Wow. Huge frame rates. Okay. So let's say I'd make a sphere better. How do you find the materials to get it? That's all done through questing. Now, questing is very difficult, but there's another site I would like to refer you to, and please, for the sake of simplicity, because explaining this website is going to be very difficult, but it's Brave Frontier Wiki. You go on the Brave Frontier Wikia, you will find everything you need. So, for example, let's say, oh, I don't know, I want to make, I'm going to find a hard sphere to make. Recommendations on spheres that I should farm to make my account better. Okay. I'll give you some spheres in a second, but I want to explain something, like how to make spheres better. So let's say I want to make Alder Blade. Well, okay, never mind. Divine Gem. Basically, it shows you what you need. It's like, okay, you need a Skyfang, which you can find later in the missions if you haven't started doing the game. But you can find them in Lysaria, in Grand Gaia, if you've already beaten the game. Yeah, Armor of Seals and Beorg's Armor. Those are all available in raid missions. So again, honor claws are available via the special social stuff. Basically, you have friends and they can send you gifts once per day. Or really, once up until about 11 o'clock-ish Eastern time. And yeah, most of the time I just let my social stuff sit because those never expire. Those gifts never expire. You can save up over 100 things of, like, you know, honor points or something. So next up, you want to see these two things, you know, Dragon Ring and Dragon Blade. Okay, what do I need to make? Oh, I don't know, like, say, what do I need to make Dragon Ring? You click on Dragon Ring. You click on the text of Dragon Ring, and it tells you what you need. Okay, so I'm going to need Golden Fangs, Boost Feathers, and Crypt Fangs. Those are also available in earlier missions in the quest line. Okay, cool. Well, let's say I don't know how to make Beast Blade. You click on that. Oh, I need Holy Blade and Red Claw. Well, how do I make Holy Blade? You click that. Oh, okay, so I need, you know, Famous Blade. And okay, I need Green Claws. And Green Claws are available from the very first mission, you know. Grand Gaia, Mistral. You know, you then look into St. Lamia. You scroll all the way down till you get to Mistral, and you click on the Adventurous Prairie or the little haunted house in the back, and that's where you can get some claws. Okay, and again, for simplicity's sake, I might wind up just linking the Wikia in the description of this as well to actually really kind of emphasize all that stuff. Now, while he's going to be our back, let me briefly explain leader skills. Aside from all this, but I guess the best way I can explain a leader skill is to do the way that most of us have already been pretty much well acquainted to. And as in the summoner mode, with all these other things. Now I'm actually going to go over some of the stuff, the key components of a good leader skill. So, good leader skill number 1, Ultra Boost. Pretty much the Alzamasta equivalent, minus 20 parameters. You know, minus 20 percentages and parameters. You pretty much are looking at Alzamasta. Okay. What makes this really good? Well, you have 60% boost all parameters. That's very good. You know, boosting all your other units. Okay, cool. 120% boost to spark damage. That's really good because now you're dealing more damage. 15% damage reduction from all elemental types. Again, it's reduction from all elemental types, so that's really good stuff. Next up is restores HP. Okay. And then huge boost BB gauge each turn. Okay, again, we're kind of looking at kind of mixes of other units too. And then negates crit damage, which some bosses can do crit damage. And another good one is Mechanishell, where it reduces BB gauge required for BB. Very good. Then it not only does that, but it boosts BB attack. Really good. And yeah. A few really, really good units with awesome leader skills. Those are Carnamasta, Alanon, Alzamasta, Omnialena, and Arthur, surprisingly. Now, I keep going back on Arthur, like Arthur. But he's good. But I hate to say it, but he's not as good as Karna. But again, he's good for Frontier Hunter. You probably want to be running both Arthur and Karna, because they can kind of pair very well together. You just need to use Karna before you use all your other units. You know, you need to BB with, use your BB or SBB with Karna before anybody else. Now, sphere recommendations that aren't limited units. That aren't limited. Okay. Well, here's a problem. Most of the spheres I have are limited. So that could be a problem. So another thing that I kind of use to counteract this are any of the spheres from the Grand Quests, any of the spheres from Grand Gaia Chronicles, any of the spheres from Frontier Gate, any of the spheres from Frontier Hunter, any of the spheres from the missions. Those are the Imperial Capital Randall missions. I'll explain those in a second. So aside from all those and level up campaign spheres, and, collaboration giveaway spheres, we are looking at bare bone spheres that are really good to have if you don't have anything else. Born Jewel. While not doing anything else other than just solely boosting parameters, Born Jewel is probably one of the best in terms of parameter boosting. It's better because, again, it's 5% points bigger than the Occult Treasure. Now, again, there's another sphere that you can get upon getting all the God Spheres, which is complete garbage. And that's only a 50% boost to all parameters. So, that sucks. Next up is Luna Laguli's Prize Light, Perseverance Jewel, Flower Crown, Nirvana Crown, and Leto Crown. These all pretty much sort of kind of perform the same way. They do a parameter boost and they give you an extra effect. So here, 30% boost to all parameters, spark damage and damage taken may boost BB gauge, and 50% boost to spark damage. That is good. You probably want to go around and find wherever that is or try to obtain it somehow. Nirvana Crown. Really good. 40% boost to all parameters, boost attack relative to BB gauge, and again relative to remaining HP. Now, unlike Ultima Weapon, this doesn't make you lose HP. This doesn't make you lose attack based on your HP is what I meant to say. Bleh. So, there's that. That solely boosts it. And again, if you're under a certain percentage, you don't really lose attack because it's weird. And here, Leto Crown, 40% boost to all parameters, raises normal hits, normal hits boost BB gauge. So very good stuff. And then Perseverance Jewel is just a very good sort of kind of all around sphere if you don't have anything else that does BB boosting stuff and you want more parameters. So again, 30% boost all parameters, BB gauge boost when attacked, or probable BB gauge boost when attacked, and boost BB gauge when attacking normally. That's all really good stuff. Next up are the Revelation books. Revelation book is really good. You can get these from ad slots. You can make these using an origin slate, but technically, origin slate or Revelation book doesn't necessarily matter because we're looking at essentially sort of kind of the same thing here. Except for Revelation book, all Revelation book does is that it just adds more damage. It gives you 50% boost to spark damage, which is also really good. Also, Geld Knight Axe, really good because you do critical hit rate and then you do critical damage. Really good stuff. Death Axe boosts critical hit rate when HP is full. You don't lose critical hit rate when your HP is low. So that's good. And Skylord's Blade, BB attack boost, and 50% boost to attack. Another good sphere, but is only available via Frontier Hunter though, is Legacy Blade, BB attack boost, 60% boost to attack and max HP, raises max attack parameter from 99,999 to 150,000. Very good stuff. Oh geez, I don't know what else to really explain about spheres because there aren't necessarily that many I can really say, like, besides all what I mentioned that are good. Because hell, I still use these spheres. I just don't have any other units to really put them on because I'm actually going to go through tomorrow or sometime later, reset all my units and do all that. Yeah. More or less, you want to have parameter boosting spheres. You want to have spheres that also just kind of make your units live a bit longer. So in some cases, you might actually need to run something that has, boost HP when attacked, like I think Blossom Device, wherever that is. Wherever my Blossom Device went. Yeah, you basically just want to have a bunch of things that boost your survivability, boost parameters, give you BB gauge effects, and you want to find spheres that have certain effects that you can't find on units or find on units for the most part. For the most part, you don't really see that many units running spark damage boosting BB gauge. So when you see a sphere that has that effect, you probably want to put that with the unit that can't get their BB gauge full. Basically, if you put a bunch of other spheres on them, though, you'll wind up having, altered, changed effects. You'll wind up, mixing and matching spheres, which that's pretty much what this game's about. It's not about what, some guy on the internet says. It's about what you feel that you can do. Now, some things have clear-cut rules, like Zai Strategy Zone. That has very clear-cut rules. There's certain things that just have to happen a certain way. But for the most part, since you're done, it seems like you are done with all the mainstream content, aside from like the Frontier Hunters and the Frontier Gates and the Frontier Rifts. You pretty much can mix and match whatever kinds of spheres you want. Like sometimes I have a unit with two weirdly contrasting spheres. Like sometimes I'll put a unit that has very good BB gauge boosting stuff. Sometimes I'll put Sacred Longbow and your projection device. Some now think about it, okay, Sacred Longbow and some other sphere that's out there like Mirage Device. Yeah, sorry, I'm not projection device. That those two are overlapping. So really, it's about what makes you feel good. Now again, Armor of Seals and Beorg's armor is probably a must-have. I don't have Beorg's armor, and I don't have armor of seals because I accidentally got rid of all my Beorg's crap, and I was too lazy to do the raid battle. That I've been very unlucky with every raid battle I've done. So, in essence, you want to have very good stuff based on not only what you can do, but what your units do. Basically, in certain cases with spheres, for example, if a unit has a certain skill with a certain kind of sphere, then we give them that sphere. For example, Azrai has it when an attack boosting sphere is equipped, he gets better stuff. And as we went over earlier, the attack boosting spheres, status boosting spheres, sorry, my apologies, that's Natsu, I think, who has that. Basically, you want to equip something that has a certain symbol on it. And whoops, I keep messing that up. Okay. And basically, I can go to sort filter. I can go to here. And it tells you, like if you go to hang on, let me kind of show this in a more correct quote unquote way. So you go to equip sphere, which is down here in the unit menu. You click on the unit thing, equip sphere, click on a unit, any unit really, and it shows you this. And you're like, oh, well, I need to find a status boosting sphere. You see this, and then you can just, click off all the rest, and boom, like, oh hey, these are all my status enhancing spheres. Hey, this is all pretty cool. Like I could, click that or this or whatever sphere, and I can give that to him. So pretty much, end of the day, in spheres, you really want to make sure that you kind of pair certain effects with certain units. So for example, if a unit calls for a certain sphere to be equipped, like a not just a status enhancing or a attack boosting sphere, but if they call for a specific sphere, this unit, for it'll say like extra skill, such and such effects if, like sphere number 1 is equipped. And then you go in your sphere inventory and find sphere number 1, give that to, unit whatever, and then boom, you get the effect on that extra skill for that character and all that hoo and ha. So, end of the day, it's more about, with spheres, it's more about what you set up and how you set them up. And again, that's very much on what do you do rather than just what some guy tells you to do, unless it's a very clear-cut guide. Basically, if you're trying to do infinite UEB, which I'm afraid Pixelstar really can't do because you don't really have an Ptolemy, Ravia, Ellie. You don't have those units, so unfortunately, you really can't keep up with the current meta, which is kind of sad. But Xenon's in the meta, which is great. A lot of taunting units are now in the meta. So there's that. And last thing, I want to kind of touch lightly a bit more on leader skills. A leader skill and a friend skill are essentially the same thing. They add certain effects to units of certain kinds. Now, they add certain effects to units of certain kinds unless otherwise stated. That's okay. Now again, I'm going to slowly start wrapping all this up soon. So, there's again a very few things I just want to mention before fully closing all this out, because this has been kind of a crazy series of videos and kind of a crazy week. But pretty much any leader skill will affect all units unless otherwise stated. So for Merlin, it's very specific because it's light, dark, and fire. Those you can identify via this symbol here. Merlin is a dark unit. So obviously he negates elemental damage. Basically, if a light unit attacks him, that acts as a null effect. Basically, he doesn't take more damage because there's a light unit, because he negates that elemental damage. Then whenever he is hit, that boosts his BB gauge by a certain amount. Then reduces BB gauge consumed during BB. Basically, that's when you flick up or you flick to the side or you flick over here and then you use your overdrive. Okay, maybe not in the case of overdrive. Overdrive is different. So when you flick up like this or when you flick to the side like that, basically it reduces it by 25 to 30%. So pretty much you don't use your whole BB, you use some of it. So that's a good thing. But then there's some units that pretty much make it cost absolutely nothing. There are units that drop BC cost by a certain amount. Famous examples are Semblance Sakura, Miku, and Ezra. And finally, his extra skill, which is kind of a passive effect on him, and occasionally to most allies unless otherwise stated. You know, because right here it's very specific. 50% damage reduction for 1 turn to BB and SBB when blank sphere is equipped. And a 15% boost to all parameters for all allies. Considerably boosts attack for 3 turns after activating overdrive, and reduces, considerably raises normal hit amount. And yeah. And obviously the extra skill right here is an Elgift. Now the Elgifts are different. Now those little dudes are basically added bonuses, pretty much. It's like you get extra stuff on a unit. You get more parameters, you get extra effects, you get other stuff. You get other things out of the whole ordeal. Now, for example, so when does extra skill activate? Extra skills are always active in battle. Extra skills are usually passive effects, which means that they are always active. So in the case of an Elgift, so I have a unit that doesn't have an extra skill, hence why these are all lit up. Now the ones that aren't lit up are ones that I have on favorite. Now I probably could just unfavorite a lot of these because I don't necessarily need them all. Well, that might be the case because I don't think I have a Terra Eterno. Never mind. So, for example, I click on this little Elgift right here. I click OK. And there are ways to remove these. So let me explain that too. So, for example, 20% boost to all parameters of Earth types. That's a passive effect. Negates all status ailments. Basically, that means they can't be cursed, paralyzed, poisoned, etc. 5% damage reduction from Earth and Thunder types. Pretty much they can't be damaged too much by Earth and Thunder types, and boost attack relative to remaining HP. How do you get that? Okay. The only reason I have so many Elgifts is because I summoned for so long. I've saved my summons up way back from when we had the Fairy Tail collaboration, and I just saved all my Elgifts. So there's that. There's that. You get that, and you'll see text appear. If you don't click skip, it'll say extra skill acquired, and you get an extra skill based on that Elgift. So at the end of the day, again, see now how all of her stuff was boosted before. Like before, this is about 9,000. This too, and this is about 7,000. So we got, more parameters out of all that. And then again, based on a certain sphere, you get 40% boost to all parameters. So that's very good stuff. Now, Elgifts can be obtained multiple ways. You can either click in this little, this little gold diamond and, purple diamond thing here, these buildings here. You want to click on that sometimes. And very rarely you click on this exchange hall. And you can, scroll around, and very rarely, very, very rarely will they have an Elgift there. But also, you want to go to town, which is this little thing here. It has like a little scarecrow dude. And there's this big guy called the Event Bazaar. Now, this is a very interesting way to get Elgifts, because you can get things from certain events. So for here, this is guild raids. For this is the Frontier Rift. This is Brave Insignias from your summoning. This is the Blossom Challenge, which is no longer in effect. This is Omni Arcanum, which is no longer in effect. And this is Vortex Arena. These two will come back sometime in the not so near future, basically next year. Yeah, those are also 40,000 points. So those are pretty much for people who summon a lot. And again, a very good way to get some very powerful Elgifts is just to go to the, summon a couple times, go to Brave Insignia, and there are 40 here. There's this 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. Brave Regalia is really good. This is like 35% boost to all parameters and stuff. The Eternos, negate certain status illnesses and reduce damage from certain elements. And this guy's just a unit, so you get Elgifts from there. Later, they're going to try to implement something where we get other Elgifts from here. Instead of just getting, Ignis Eterno, all the Eterno level 2s, they might add in something later that we can actually get multiple things from. Frontier Rift doesn't usually have anything except for very limited quantity units, that are, more powerful than we really are typically anticipated. Oh, okay. So yeah, I might stream tomorrow. There's like an 80% chance I'll stream tomorrow if I'm not doing anything. And Vortex Arena doesn't have much, so that's mostly where you get Elgifts, aside from Summon Gates. Aside from your typical 40, you have 40, geez, your 4, 6, 8, or 10 summons from a Summon Gate that you get an Elgift. Okay, that was crazy. So again, we have some things that we can get from other gates, except for the cheaper ones. And then here, oh cool, you have a good night, or good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are. And yeah, we have a bunch of sort of kind of boring stuff here happening. So again, we get Elgifts every 10 summons, and global exclusives. Those are the Brave Elgifts. So Brave Shadow, Brave Fortitude, Brave Reckoning, Brave Contemplation, and Brave Perseverance. There we go, Brave Perseverance. Those all do your basic parameter boosting effects with extra stuff on them too. Okay, so I think I've pretty much covered everything you need to know about team building. And not only team building, but spheres. And briefly glossed over leader skill spheres, which are used in summoner mode. They're used, in this little area if you've already cleared every content in the game. All the main quest content in the game, I should say. So there's that. I might do Battle Hall. I don't know. Mainly now, all I'm going to do is just level up. So, yeah. I don't think there's much else for me to say. Anybody else have any questions? I need to pee real fast, so I'll be right back. Okay, so it seems that nobody else has any other questions. So that's really nice. It's really cool. Great way to kind of cut all this stuff into a nice little wedge here. I'm glad I'm actually able to kind of do something to help people and kind of be caught up with the current meta, because Ushi's video is not really caught up, because that was in 2016, I believe. So yeah, I'm gonna start leveling up now. Jeez, my bowl of macaroni like welded itself. There we go, to my friggin' table. Bye. Yeah. There's not much for me to do. Yay. All that's left is Summoner Rope. Rip. Oh yeah, wait, where's like the little oh sorry, we need like party hats in the friggin' chat. Because we hit 150 subs. I just remembered that. I just it just came back to me. I'm like, oh wait a minute. No, we hit 150 today. Probably gonna go back down to 149 sometime soon. Probably gonna get fucked. YouTube's gonna fuck me up. Like we know it's gonna happen. But no, like it's really cool. Slowly getting there, making my way up in the world, doing stuff, making videos and then having them stolen by Ushi, then stealing videos that he does. Yeah. Oh my god. We are going to have so much fucking craziness. But yeah. Ooh, party. Very silent party, but whoopee. I'm happy. Oh my. I'm back on some of my old videos too. This is gonna take like forever. So, aside from me just sitting here being stupid, doing summoner crap, I think we've pretty much made the point that team building's crazy. So, that's gonna be it for the day, guys. I might be back on tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure. But see you on the next one, guys. That's it for the day. Peace out.